Welcome to Truth Stream. Once again, another edition of Health Stream. And today we have Linda Bamber-Olsen, and she is the creator and founder of the Wave Watch, which looks a bit like this, Mr. Stone. Oh, he has his right there.
Mine's charging currently.
So thank you for joining us. And you got some announcements. We got some updates to the version that's out now. So we're excited to have you here on this one of your first shows about the new one. So welcome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I've had this out for a couple of years, and it's great to be able to, keep improving and make it better and get more testimonies because it helps more people every time I change it just a little bit.
Nice.
So,
well, let's start a little bit about your background before we jump right into the watch and what it does, because I think it's good to set up a foundation. So please let the viewers know a little bit more about you.
Sure. I just developed this watch because of a lot of different things. Basically, I was born completely deaf in one ear. And but I was able to fool people, evidently. So for about until third grade, no one knew that I was deaf in one ear. So that little bit of information that I learned somehow when I was a youngster really helped me to develop the Wave Watch and know how important hearing is, or just adjusting to the lack of hearing, looking at people, putting something in the right position, feeling energy and vibration, because you are concentrating so hard. So that was a little lesson I didn't even know that I would use later in life. But how I fooled people for that many years, I do not really know. But then later in life, my mother and sister both developed breast cancer at the same time. And I was a school teacher, and my doctors basically just told me to have a double mastectomy. Even though there was no cancer in sight. Their answer to them, the perfect answer, was to just go ahead and cut my breasts off because my mom and sister had problems. They are both survivors today, but I decided that I could take better care of myself than the medical doctors could, obviously. And 16 years later, I'm still here and intact, And I learned so much during that. So I started a business, and it's called BRAS, seriously, Breast Research Awareness and Support. That's what the acronym is for. And so for 16 or so years, I've taught women how to protect themselves from breast problems. And during that whole time period, I learned just so much information that women don't have breast cancer. And of course, we do have some guys who have breast cancer, but the majority, women, are 99% that have the breast cancer. They have that problem from emotions. They have it because their liver is messed up, because their hormones are messed up. Maybe they have a parasite. Maybe they have a virus. Maybe they have a bacteria. The list of problems that can cause breast cancer, there's 8 teeth. There's 2 up and 2 down on each side that can be connected with breast cancer. So this list got bigger and bigger, and I just needed something to help women with all of these problems. And the answer was easy. It was frequencies. So what I developed, and what you'll have in your hands if you're interested, is a book, a watch that takes care of 1,000 different frequency ideas and self-care ideas. So that runs the gamut of what I found that women needed and everybody else. So this watch is made so that you can wear it and put it on your wrist. And it does have a speaker on the back. So when you put that on your wrist and start the frequency to play, it is a sound frequency. It's an acoustical frequency. It's the human voice. It's the range of our voice from 20 to 20,000. So again, it's safe, it's drug-free. It's effective. It's not going to hurt you, and everybody can use it. So I've had kids, and of course, men and women and senior citizens and pets of all kinds. Somebody even sent me a picture of their duck using the Wave Watch. So,
Wow.
it's effective for a lot of different things. So it is a larger tool, and my suggestion is that you wear it on your left wrist, because I was taught by some people that use energy frequency ideas that you absorb energy through your left hand and you actually share it through your right hand. Like when we shake our hands with somebody or we hug somebody, we're sharing that energy out the other side of our body. So I thought that was really interesting. Now, of course, there are some exceptions. Sometimes people want to wear it in different places, and that's okay. And seriously, I've had a couple women who wore it in their bra. They thought that was effective because they were having some breast problems, but it's not a have to at all. So what happens is when you strap it on your wrist and you select a frequency, it's going to just zip through your body at 4.3 times the speed of sound. So if I just kind of give you are we ready for a little tiny demo here? I guess.
Well, sure.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
hold it for 3 seconds. Can you see it there?
Yep.
And there you go. And when I turn, I'm trying to get it not to glare. And when I turn it on, there are 3 swipe screens there. So you just touch it and it just, swipes across. And so you'll have to read the booklet a little bit to see where you want to do and what idea that you want to cover. But once you select one, you just tap it. And I don't know, can you hear this one? I don't know if you can hear that at all.
Very slightly, yes.
Okay, but you'll want to turn it down. So there's a screen and you want to turn it down. And so you're going to touch the middle button and simply turn it down to about 4. And then that makes it so that you don't interrupt anybody else's life. Your body is hearing and absorbing that frequency, that wave and vibration that it's creating.
There's
You
that.
can probably hear it now. I'm holding it up to the mic.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah. And you don't want to hear it. One of my embarrassing moments when I was developing the Wave Watch, I went to the bank, and remember, I'm deaf. I had it on 12. I couldn't hear it. And the bank tellers, literally, their eyes just went bananas going, what is that? Is that a seriously, one of them said that. And so anyway, you do want to be,
Aware.
think about aware of other people's hearing range also, But now one of my cutest stories, I had a gentleman call me and he bought the Wave Watch for his wife with Parkinson's. And he kind of stuttered. He finished that idea and then he kind of, was hesitating, couldn't figure out what to say. And then he just blurted out and he said, "We sleep really close together."
Oh my.
So I'm going, okay. And then he blurts out again, and I could feel her frequencies when she had the Wave Watch on.
Wow.
That's what he stated. And then he finishes up again and he said, and I woke up the next morning and my feet didn't hurt. Well, I'm going, well, that's really neat. And he blurts out and he just goes, "You don't understand. My feet have hurt for 15 years. I've taken medications for 15 years. And within 2 weeks, he was off his medications when he felt the frequencies that his wife was wearing. And she was wearing for Parkinson's. So that is connected with neuropathy. So something in that frequency spoke to what his body needed. So you could have your grandchild sitting on your lap and maybe you think they're anxious and you're anxious. So you could be playing the frequency for anxiety and somebody else would get some good out of it too. Or you could lay it on an end table and have it set on anxiety or whatever. And maybe your dog would do that. And I've had several testimonies of people's cats or dogs that come up and that can absorb the energy and they just settle right down. So just a fun tool that is working for just many, many different ideas. The list is endless. I don't know.
Well, I was just going to say, I think what makes this so fitting with the show is it's affordable. If someone like myself wants to start learning about this, I mean, Scott's been more into energy work and healing quite a bit longer than I, years, literally. And but
30.
Yeah. right. So, and for me it was woo or it was, it can be some of these. There's a lot of great systems out there. There's the EE system, there's Healy, there's a few other things, and maybe those could be great for people that can afford it, but some of those might be a little bit out of someone's range. This is more around what is the price point on this?
So the price point, we're going to give your audience $100 off. And it on the website, it says $597. And then you'll get $100 off. And then just for the first 1,000 that are purchased because this is a new cycle coming out, the latest and greatest, I'm going to say, we're going to give them another $40 off. So they will get a good bargain today when they order, but they don't hesitate because we only have 1,000 of them at that price. So they'll have $140 off. So
Thanks for that.
Yeah,
great.
that's really
yeah.
I love the idea that I can share this with my dog. She's a senior, and she's been struggling, and I'm excited to see how this affects her.
Well, I've had testimonies from arthritis, anxiety, their stomach was upset. I mean, anything that a human can have, you can play for the dogs too, evidently. So
Well, fantastic.
there you go.
Do you want to walk through? You want to share the screen and walk the viewers through a bit of the, if you will, the presentation?
Sure. I like to tell people about using the Wave Watch the very first time. And I think it's kind of important to let them know why and what they need to do.
Right.
So
I just wanted to read this and I think we went over all of this, but your background, natural health, certified nutritional consultant, inventor of the Wave Watch. It's really cool. I think that's really empowering, especially to women, that you're an inventor, you're a teacher, you're, a writer. I think it's really great that you embody so much background in trying to share awareness and education for women and, and for humanity in general. But we love seeing strong women on our show. It's fantastic.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I didn't know I was such a creator. It came out as I aged a little bit. Everything I did was a creation, and I had to come up with my own ideas and patterns and that kind of thing. So women can be great creators. They just need to be encouraged. So I wanted to share with you today about parasites, and that's because they're so important. And that's one of the things that the Wave Watch has been just pretty amazing on. So when you get your booklet, if you decide that you want to order this, when you get your booklet, the very first paragraph will say, if you do not know where to start with inflammation, pain, and trauma, and then follow with parasites. So that's kind of what it's telling you right in here if you read it. But I thought this presentation might just kind of bring that home to you really easy. So here's Scott and Joe's code, Stream 100 for $497. Then don't forget, you're going to get another $40 off of that. So there's going to be 1,000 different frequency settings on this. And voila, it has all kinds of frequencies. You don't have to have any cords or wires hooked up. There's no monthly fee. You're not going to get caught in that. And that was so important to me because I get really upset when I order something and then voila, 20 days later, I get the same thing again and I didn't order it, So you're not going to get stuck with anything. Also, there's no internet connectivity. And this is supremely important because we are wearing all kinds of tools on our bodies that are connected to the internet. And those are negative frequencies. There's all kinds of information about that. If you haven't been introduced to that idea, please go do your own research and find out how bad some of these things are that we wear on our wrist, and how they can be connected to some of the health problems that we are having now. So the Wave Watch doesn't go there at all. And I think it's very cost effective, and that's already kind of been mentioned. And that was the whole goal, mission statement, if you'd like me to say, of the Wave Watch, because I thought people needed to be introduced to the concept. And it's hard to introduce somebody to a concept if your tool costs $15,000. Who's going to order it? If it costs, $2,500, it has to be affordable for people to, get their toes wet and then keep working with it. But frequencies are for everybody. So another thing that I do share with you, I'm a teacher, and I have 60 hours of teaching how you can use a Wave Watch for different topics. So if you have had a stroke or somebody has had a stroke, you can go to Facebook, Wave Watch Frequency Fanatics, and see my hour-long presentation on some frequencies that you could use with the Wave Watch for strokes, and an amazing, amazing testimony. I think since I've talked to you last, I've had that this testimony on a person who had a stroke a couple of years ago and had gone through all the medical use of whatever they needed to do, and then insurance kind of ran out, and she didn't have as much support and help, and so she had basically just sat for a year without much improvement. And her neighbor, this is what we should be, is neighbors. Please share your Wave Watch with your neighbor. Tell other people about it. Her neighbor brought her and shared her Wave Watch with her for 2.5 days. And in that time period, all of a sudden, she could raise her hand above her head, her fingers uncurled. She could walk up and down the stairs. She could sleep all night long without incontinence problems. And, it was just an amazing testimony for 2.5 days of use of the Wave Watch. So I encourage you to, at least look at that segment or any other segment. And then a lot of these segments have been put on Rumble and YouTube. So you can find them on different places. This is not a diagnosis. The Wave Watch doesn't diagnose anything. I can't make any claims. I'm just saying frequencies are unbelievable and they're natural so that we can absorb them. So, and I've already talked about you absorb energy through your left hand and share it through your right. And just one more little thing before I get into parasites. I forgot I had all of these ideas here. How the Wave Watch is working is it is producing a specific vibration that has been measured for over 100 years. There's lots of information on Rife technology. Tesla was even involved with measuring frequencies, and he had a frequency, a vibrating platform machine. And so, we have a set frequency, and when your body absorbs that frequency and another, something else in your body has the same frequencies, they interact. So let's say it's a virus and you have the frequency for that virus, they go into your system and they're going to vibrate and self-amplify and basically fall apart. So that's what resonant frequencies are. So we've had resonant frequencies for thousands of ideas for over 100 years. But for some reason, I can say a lot of this stuff, right, Joe and Scott?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you
So,
need.
so for some reason, these have been deemed unacceptable to use in the medical community, and frequencies have been null and void and dangerous to use, when actually acoustical frequencies are just the opposite. They have a history from using from, cymbals and chanting and drums and prayer, obviously. And so all of those create a resonance, and different cultures learned different ideas about resonance and how they could use them. So start looking up how ancient cultures used resonant frequencies. Amazing. So finally, to the idea I was going to tell you about, if that's okay, guys, don't I get too far?
Sure,
Too far off the track there. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you about parasites, because that is a missing piece of our health factor. Even Dr. Lee Merritt has been saying lately that a lot of times MS is connected to different health problems like MS, brain tumors. The list is endless and endless, and every medical doctor that is working a little bit more naturally will tell you that parasites are behind so much of this. So they say, and here's my information, 60% of the population is affected by some kind of parasite. And but people keep ignoring the fact, and it takes sometimes years for them to realize it, or they never realize it, and it's labeled as a disease rather than just a parasite. So on the Wave Watch itself, if you look through the little booklet that I keep talking about, these are your choices for parasites. Now, I've used different machines for 15 years to check for parasites. And basically, the system that I used to get rid of those parasites was natural supplements or herbs, things like that. And it would take 3 or 4 months, and they might have to have several rounds, and the list goes on and on. It was quite a process to get rid of parasites. But by setting the Wave Watch to play all of these ideas, you can be sleeping at night with the Wave Watch on. And when you wake up in the morning, you're going to have some changes with parasites. You may not know it, but I think that I have enough ideas to be able to show you that your body really can change very quickly with parasite remedies. So that's all you would do. You would select one of those and then let it play through the whole thing. Now, let me see. These are like songs. So your body's just reacting to this song. It's not going to hurt you. One of my biggest questions from people is, I know somebody that's had a pacemaker. Can they wear the Wave Watch? And I like to have a little bit of fun and say, can they talk to you? Can they listen to a song? Well, yes. Well, then the Wave Watch is okay. That's all it is. You are wearing a tool that is playing a little song as you wear it. Okay. So the song for parasites is so important. I'm going to pick on you guys. Look at this. Hulda Clark, who has been known for ages and ages, says that men could have 3 pounds of parasites in their body and a 4-year shorter lifespan because of parasites.
Wow.
Now, I guess women are off the hook. There weren't any stats for us. I'm sure we have an amazing amount of them. So there's 45,000 types, parasites or protozoa. Doesn't that just blow you away?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
make me a
some-
little it's a little unnerving.
Yeah. And we can be walking around with tapeworms that measure 80 feet long and can live as long as 30 years.
Wow.
So don't tell me that that isn't a problem that all of us need to be concerned about. And to me, the medical is really not concerned about it. They have a couple of remedies for 2 parasites. Well, there's all of these parasites. They cannot even begin to fathom the depth that they need to bring out to pull parasites out of our body. And we have brought parasites home from around the world. That's how ridiculous we are. I'm sorry, but Americans, we think we're a little bit better sometimes. And well, there's no way we could have parasites. I can't, no way. And sorry, we brought them home from around the world. So we have everybody's parasites. People that live in different continents, they take their own herbals and, different things for parasites. But we come home and biggie, we don't do anything. We might worm our dogs for parasites once a month, but we don't take care of ourselves. So believe me when I say that we are full of parasites. And that's why after inflammation, pain, and trauma, a frequency on here, if you're having a lot of pain, that's a good one to play. But the next most important one is parasites. It is connected with so many health problems, you can't believe it.
Wow.
So look at these guys.
Oh, it's just a wonderful picture. Thank you for sharing.
I'm all about sharing,
Yeah.
but I got to draw the line somewhere.
Oh God.
Come on, that's awful.
Just wanted to make such a splash on your program. I had to show the worst thing possible, I guess.
Oh.
But, this has been such an important problem. When you see somebody that's in a wheelchair and then they get rid of parasites and they can walk again, isn't that kind of important? When you know that people have brain tumors and they've actually done surgery and, they pulled out a little worm,
Wow.
when little kids, you're changing their diapers, you can see worms. The list goes on and on. So we need to wake up and do a little bit better job, a lot better job with our health. And it could start with parasites. So this is a system that I have, and I've used it for 16 years. And I screened 100 people when I was developing the Wave Watch, and 42 of them had parasites as their worst problem. And I'm not talking about one parasite. I'm talking about 20 or 30 different kinds of parasites. This machine has 50,000 ideas that it can kind of work with and give you information on. So it really hones in on parasites, and we have the frequency for that. That's where I figured out how I wanted to do the Wave Watch. So of the 42 people with parasites, Some of them, like I mentioned, had 20 to 30 parasites. They're in an egg stage or a larva stage or the adult stage. So if you can imagine trying to figure out a remedy that would take care of this whole scenario of things, it's pretty impossible. It was very hard. But the Wave Watch, people were able to wear that for 30 minutes in my office with my prototype. And basically, I did teach them muscle testing. Did we talk about that earlier, Scott? Do you like muscle testing?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a core part of the energy work that I do.
Right. So
Yeah.
I teach people how to muscle test, and they could muscle test a remedy that I did have on my shelf that they might need for parasites. But before they bought that remedy, we played the Wave Watch for 30 minutes. And we retested them on their remedy that their body had selected with muscle testing. And in 30 minutes, they didn't want it.
Wow.
Now that happened 42 different times. And then I retested them on this particular machine, the Meridian stress assessment system. And it didn't even pick up parasites. 30 minutes before, they were full of parasites. And in 30 minutes, their body didn't want a parasite remedy and the machine didn't pick up parasites.
Oh.
And then here's my grand little testimony. Somebody sent me this picture in 6 hours after their first Wave Watch session. Remember, 30 minutes, they passed a large parasite.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to stare at the part of the screen with your face rather than that. Yeah, you got your point
That's
across.
the stuff of nightmares for sure. Definitely get your Wave Watch.
Next image,
Wow.
please. Oh, there we go.
There we
Much
go.
better.
Yeah.
People have this in their system. I forgot that was a big screen there. So, we laugh a lot about how, the change of the moon, the full moon, and, blah, blah, blah. We think it's an old wives' tale or whatever, but there's so much to it. This is when parasites reproduce the most, and they give people a hard time. The emergency rooms at the hospitals know that this is when people go crazy, when, XYZ happens. And a lot of it can be tracked back to parasites. Pretty easy to tell you that.
Anyone that's ever done any bartending knows that there's an awful lot to the full moon.
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty noticeable in a crowd. Yeah.
And it's pretty crazy. We can get parasites from anywhere. I've already mentioned we bring them from around the world. They're in dust particles. They're on the beach. You can walk on the sand and pick up a parasite. You can pet a dog, or the dog licks you on the cheek, or the cat, or whatever. You could get a parasite. Of course, our food, just mosquitoes, fleas, those kind of things are going to do that. Supposedly, they say there's even some parasites or worms that are able to jump onto your body as you're walking. And if you put your hand in muddy water, you could actually pick up a parasite, that kind of thing. So we just have parasites, from all over. So don't forget that those are one of the ideas that works the best, and that you ought to take advantage of because of all of the impossibilities of it. So the TrueStream 100 for $497 with 1,000 self-care ideas. One of the main ones that I wanted to just give you a little bit of information about was the parasites. And I think I have right here, these are the symptoms, it just goes on and on. I've got 3 or 4 different slides with the symptoms of parasites. So anything that you could be having today could be connected back to a parasite.
Wow.
Even our ADHD, we don't think about it, but we have these little kids sitting in their seats, just jumping all over at school. And of course, the teacher, if she's not informed, she's going to say, turn them in and tell them, their parents that they probably need some medication when all they need is a parasite remedy. That's why they're jumping, but no, we don't think of that anymore. We just think that they need an emotional, they need a medication and nothing about their emotions.
On that topic, is there an age, like can children wear this, or what would you suggest for younger ones?
Yes, the watches are a little bit big for them, so with parent supervision. But so many of them have worn it for motion sickness when they're riding in a car, for all kinds of ADHD, ADD, for all kinds of emotional problems. There are about 85 different frequencies for emotions. A lot of them have upset stomach, or diarrhea. And so the parent can easily put this on it and, just make sure that they're not running around and, dropping it, that kind of thing. Or while they're sitting and watching TV, they can play different ideas. So it's very easy for the parent to use that. And some parents are choosing to put it on the child when they sleep at night. They think, they have made their own choice on that their child is going to stay in bed at night, and so they can put something on to loop all night long, and so that works really well also. So
Have you ever has a younger one ever worn it maybe around its leg or anything like that, since it's a little bigger? Would that be
I think they could do that, but parents have to be careful because, it's breakable. It's a little TV screen, basically,
right?
and so on the ankle, you don't know what the child is doing. But I did have a crazy story. The gal that works for me, she's got a 9-year-old that burned himself pretty badly. And he had to go to his soccer game and he was still crying and his leg was all sore. And so they actually took the wristband off the Wave Watch and put it in his sock and pulled his sock up really, really tight and put it on burns and wounds. And he was able to play his soccer game without a problem. He didn't lose the Wave Watch. It didn't get broken. I don't think that would work in a big guy's game, a high school game maybe, but it did seem to work okay with him. But you're taking you're making the choice on that because it is breakable.
Right.
You can buy a warranty for it. It's $49.99, and I highly suggest that, because people get to the point where they love them and they're wearing them 24 hours a day or sharing them with somebody else who may not take as good a care of it and be as cautious. So the best times to wear it are, when you're driving, when you're sitting watching, TV, when you're sleeping at night, that kind of thing. You want to be careful when you're washing dishes, that kind of thing, washing your hands, because there's a speaker, and that's the whole premise of the idea, is that the speaker is a little bit open so that you're able to absorb those frequencies.
Okay, cool. Well, now I have a, because sometimes shows like this, someone may not see for a week or a month or whatever. So, but even though as far as, our code, if they see this show, even in a month from now, they'll still get the $100 off, right?
Yes, they would. Yeah. I'm giving another $40 off for the first 1,000 that buy. So that would go pretty fast, I think.
Right.
They may not be able to get that if they see that code a little bit later, but the $100 code is still useful. And hey guys, should I show this one? I thought I had
Whatever
it here.
you think. I mean, this is your world. We're just visiting it right now.
Hey, I've never had this much fun telling about parasites, but look at this phrasing. This comes.
Yeah, it's a blast. Let me tell you.
If you can read this, or do you want me to read it?
Yeah, I think
amazing?
you're helping us create a new word. We're mortitained. We're mortified and entertained all at the same time.
So here they are resonating. This article even says they resonate, at a certain frequency. But wow, have we ever taken control of that resonation before and tried to use it to eliminate them? No, that's what the Wave Watch does. So, from an unusual source, they're using the words that we are using the idea on. So parasites are going to fill you up with lots of bad stuff. And they're going to resonate at at a certain frequency. And then it makes you produce more dopamine, adrenaline, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, because the parasite likes to eat that molecule. Is that not amazing?
Wow.
So then we wonder why we have all these health problems. So they are dictating to us inside our body what we will produce estrogen wise and hormone wise, and then they're taking advantage of us. Well, so that's why it's so important to get rid of parasites.
Yeah. People really need to understand the fundamentals behind frequency. I mean, Tesla went into it at length, but you know, the building blocks of what we are and what all things are really is a pretty short list, and it's the frequency that determines what they, you know, what they become. The difference between a brain cell and a liver cell it mostly has to do with frequency. So everything has a frequency signature, and frequency is a language that you know, is very direct
Well
in
said.
that regard.
Very good. And you know, why haven't we used it before? Why haven't we captured that? You
Well,
know,
you mentioned the you know, modern medicine or Western medicine you know, kind of eschews the idea of frequency, but yet they advocated for the removal of your breasts. And I got me to thinking, if I had cut off my arm before I broke my arm, I would have never broken my arm. So they do have a point. But I'm glad I didn't.
What?
good reasoning there.
Well, I mean, come on,
You know,
he's a little more gentle, I think. Easier,
you know,
easier to
another
heal from.
I was not expect. See, sometimes people don't know. I literally have a list of things Scott says that we read once in a while because I never know where it comes from. It's pretty funny stuff, though. So, but please continue.
I don't know what I was going to say.
Welcome to my life.
Actually, I do. I wanted to share with you one thing that I did not know, and I've just learned, you know, within the last couple of years that I am fascinated about. And this was more a quote from someone who's saying that basically frequencies move through our body very, very quickly if they are in a wave form, waves and vibration. And everything has a frequency. So they can measure the frequencies of prescriptions. So those are a little bit different frequency, and they move through your body at a foot a second. Can you get that in mind? So our prescriptions move through our body a foot a second, and it's slow. That is so slow that our body heat burns that prescription, that drug, up literally. So only 2% of it is absorbed. 2%. I don't know how to say that here. 2%. And it has to be given again and again and again.
Right.
Because it's not absorbed correctly, because it's in the wrong kind of format for your body to absorb.
So what would be considered quick? A foot per second, that's slow.
Incredibly slow.
Right. So acoustical frequencies go through your body at 4.3 times the speed of sound. Zip.
Okay, that helps bring it to perspective. Thank you for clarifying that.
And then they are absorbed 100%.
Wow.
So is it any wonder that our prescriptions, we have to keep taking them over and over and over again. And in all of that time, we finally get some good out of them, but we might have gotten a lot of negative symptoms also. Where with frequencies, they're going to zip through your body. You're going to, usually you'll see some faster results. I can't guarantee that, but they do tend to be faster. And there's not going to be the negativity that we have from our prescription drugs.
Wow. Right. And all the side effects require additional drugs. And pretty soon you're just on this cycle of drugs interfering with your overall health as a whole.
Exactly. Yes. So, you know, I probably blabbed enough about parasites. And I'm not sure what else I need to tell you. Did I mention that we have 2 wristbands coming for the use?
I don't think so, but yeah, you might as well.
Okay. So when you get the original Wave watch, it will come in a box like this. Let's see if I can show this. It's hard to unbox it on screen, isn't it? Yeah. And it comes like this. You'll have your own carrying case. And then when you open it up, you'll be able to take your wristwatch out. Plus, it will have an extra band that's Velcro. And some of our big guys really like these bands. And sometimes our little tiny women prefer these bands because they fit them just a little bit better. So now you have 2 bands in here. You have 1,000 frequencies. You have a charging cord and a charging brick that comes with it. And this is right inside the carrying case, you know. So you'll want to look through that case. Sometimes people miss things. Now, the last thing that you want to make sure that you get out is right here, and there is a screen protector. So you'll have to put your screen protector on once you get it. Okay. So once in a while when it comes, people will notice that there's, a lot of scratches on this. Well, that's the one that you peel off and you throw away and you put the good screen protector on. Okay. So there is some confusion about that once in a while too. But I do try to put a note in there and let people know that they peel this film off and they put their protected screen on when they get it in the mail. Okay.
And I think you
So
mentioned it's compatible with a number of other bands as well if you wanted to further customize it. And that's
yes.
in the manual, that the particular size, but there's a number of different options, third party, that
Yes. So it would be more a Fitbit MM22 is the size range for this, because some women want pink ones and I don't think very many guys want pink ones. So I just put a black one in. So
in
you can make some
our
choices.
audience, there's probably zero guys.
That's right. So you make your own choice if you want something other than black. Oh, so anyway, those are the things that you're going to get. And I really appreciate you letting me share some of the, just a beginning idea about the Wave Watch and how you can use it and wear it at different times of the day. You can share it with different members of the family, and please share it with your neighbors. I do have another lady that shared it with her whole neighborhood, and about 10 different people would come over to her house, and it seemed like, and share the Wave Watch because I was out of stock. I'd sold out. And so she was sharing with her neighbors until their orders came in. It was just a lovely way that the whole neighborhood got together a little bit better, or maybe they were already close, but it really made them close. So anyway, be creative and see if you can figure out a way to help others.
Absolutely. Do you want to stop the screen share so we can say bye to you more officially with your
why didn't you tell me to do that earlier? How's that?
That's great. Well, I just want the audience to see.
You probably did tell me that. I just didn't,
Oh no, you're fine, because what was good is it had the code up there so everyone could see it for a while. And so yeah, no matter when anyone sees this, please share this, and if you get this, please comment, and we'll have Linda back down the road, and maybe we can share some of the testimonies that some of our viewers experience. Anything else?
Yeah, if you have any questions, definitely leave them in the comments and we'll do our best to get them answered for you.
Yeah.
Joe's been playing around with the Wave Watch for quite a while, and he's had nothing but great things to say. And having just got mine, I'm real excited to dive in myself. So yeah, it'll be a learning curve for all of us, but I think we're in good hands.
Yeah, I mean, literally I had some kind of mosquito bite, and I put it on Bite, and it's helped alleviate that. And granted, I did put some aloe vera on as well, but I'm not going to just do one thing, because when there's a fire, you throw different hoses on the fire. So
that's right.
But yeah,
so some people have used it just for a mosquito repellent too. If you haven't seen that, mosquito repel,
Really? That's fantastic.
Wait, so what frequency would you put it on? Just bug bite, or is there or what would you do?
There's one that says mosquito repel.
Oh, I didn't even look at that yet.
Now that's
that.
So
while you're outside there, guys.
Yeah, because we know camping, and who wants to put DEET and all the other crap on your body? That's fantastic. Right. That alone is worth it.
Yeah,
man,
that's fantastic.
So, a couple other ideas that I might just throw out really quickly. I'm going to cry on this one. I usually do almost, because I work with women's breast health, and I've had 9 women have breast lumps go away in about 30 minutes in my office. They came in with a lump. They wore the watch for 30 minutes and they were crying as much as I was. And when they left, they could not feel it, or it was gone or almost gone, that kind of thing. And then I've had 17 testimonies on kidney stones gone in 30 minutes.
Wow.
So they did a urine sample and it was full of flack and all kinds of things. So it's almost like a mini lithotripsy, maybe is a way to say it. That's what lithotripsy is. When you go to the hospital for lithotripsy, they are using ultrasound frequencies. And they don't know which ultrasound frequency to use, according to an article in Scientific American. And they just blast you with everything. So there's a lot of, downtime with that. Sometimes, lots of bruising, there's even worse things that do happen. People have had lots of injuries from lithotripsy, or you can try wearing the Wave Watch for $500 in a 30-minute time period and see what happens.
I'll tell you, anyone that's passed a kidney stone, and thank God I haven't, they'd probably pay $500 for just five important minutes to alleviate the pain that's been described to me. That sounds like a horrible experience. So,
Yeah.
So many uses. It goes on and on. I probably have 400 different testimonies of different kinds of things that people have noted that it helped them with. I don't think I have 1,000. I don't have a testimony for every single idea, but probably at least 400 different ideas. So frequencies do that. They can work on a variety of things. And that's why we want to learn about frequencies, everybody. So I hope I have time to learn about the Wave Watch. And thanks, Joe and Scott. Is there anything else that you want me to
well, thank you for developing
share with anybody?
Yeah, thanks for making something that's actually, affordable. Someone can start at a place of, like for me, for example, this is relatively new for me, and I've never really been able to make that leap. So this is fantastic, and to share this on the show. We don't do a lot of health streams, but we want to do stuff that we actually can get behind, and the combination of all this is fantastic and great timing too, because we're learning about all this stuff that a lot of people are waking up to this. And my dad was a pharmacist, and my goal was to never put any of that crap in my body as long as I could. So.
Well, and I do have a question for those folks that have had adverse reactions to your recent phenomenon.
Yeah.
What have you gotten any feedback as far as what the Wave Watch might do for those folks?
Yes, I have a frequency on there that it's under the detox area, and it's called viral detox. So it's an RNA DNA code basically to try to help people with that, and then I have found frequencies for the spike protein and for biofilms and things like that. So mostly feedback is that, when people go into a crowd or they go see their families and somebody in the family's been, has had the here, they just put their Wave Watch on, viral detox, and they never have a problem.
Worst field. I like it.
Yeah, there you go. And then there is a virus section, and I was able to find frequencies for vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, and iodine, and they're all labeled really plainly there. Plus, I have a frequency for hydroxychloroquine in that virus folder. So many different ways. Just play through a lot of them, when you think you have a particular problem. So that'll cover the gamut of different ideas.
Great question.
Yeah.
Well, Linda, it's been wonderful to have you on the show. And once again, the website is wavwatch.com. Did I get that correct?
Yes. Wavewatch.com. Waves and vibrations. No E. There's no E in it. Just waves and vibrations.
Cool.
And if we get enough questions in the comment section, we'll have you back and we can maybe go through them and let the expert answer the questions.
That sounds great.
Perfect.
Thank you again.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Linda. Take care, everybody.